Welcome everybody. Here are my top 5 reasons why China will never take over Taiwan. Tell me in the comments what do you think. Taiwan will never accept a peaceful reunification. The Communist Party would wish for a peaceful conquest. A Chinese government spokesperson said Beijing was willing to make the utmost effort to strive for peaceful reunification, and besides that, you also have Xi Jin Ping telling Joe Biden that a reunification with China would be at first tried peacefully. But the government of Taiwan came out and said it will never allow China to meddle in its future. Why would the government in Taipei be against this? Well, Taiwan is a democracy and the government represents the will of the people. Surveys conducted by the National Chengchi University said since the early 90s indicate that the proportion of people who identify as Chinese or both Chinese and Taiwanese has crashed down to unbelievably low levels, with most people today considering themselves as just Taiwanese. China over the years has lost the Taiwanese population after the crackdown of democratic protesters in Hong Kong, the shutdown of individual liberties, and the handling of the virus situation in the mainland. The average Taiwanese sees the Communist Party for what it is, a totalitarian evil government. Therefore, the Taiwanese government rejects China's claim over their country. With this in mind, any political party that wants China back on the island will lose every election and gain no ground. The fact is that China's military strength is entirely unproven in practical terms, and like its ally Russia, China has serious military weaknesses. Before the invasion, Western intelligence analysts and policymakers have consistently overrated Russia's military strength, and precisely the same mistakes are now being made about China's PLA, People Liberation Army. There are 5 reasons for this. First, when the adversary is a totalitarian state, it is easier to make judgments based on the quantity of weapons, tanks, jet fighters, missiles, and manpower, rather than on the quality and psychological characteristics that often determine the military performance on the battlefield. Second, because of Russia's and China's autocratic systems and corruption, it has proven difficult for them to bring the kinds of innovation, adaptability, and versatility that tend to produce the best outcomes on the battlefield. It is easy to concentrate on the material strengths of both China and Russia that can be counted by intelligence, while neglecting crucial variables such as the quality and experience of their troops. Third, one of the most serious defects of China's and Russia's military forces is that they lack a critical mass of professionally trained NCOs. The death of professional non-commissioned officers means that totalitarian armies are unable to fight effectively because NCOs provide the vital link between officers and soldiers about battlefield decision making. Military command and control culture boils down to trust. Trust is not one of the strengths of authoritarian states like China and Russia. As the US Center for Security and Emerging Technology has observed, military command and control in such authoritarian regimes have rigid and fragmented command and control structures because the political leadership does not trust the military leadership and the military does not trust the rank and file. Such systems fail to successfully share information, discourage initiative, and prevent battlefield lessons from informing strategy or being incorporated into future military doctrine. These critical structural deficiencies are part of both China's and Russia's military DNA. Fourth, there has been far too much focus on weapon systems and new technology coming with endless claims that each new Chinese or Russian weapon is so much superior to those of the US, without real proof of course. Only some in the West pay close attention to the actual composition, training and preparedness of Russian and Chinese troops themselves. or their ability to operate as a joint force outside of artificial planned exercises. And finally, 6. It is little understood in the West that the oath of allegiance of PLA soldiers is to the Communist Party of China. Chinese troops must waste much of their time studying and regurgitating Communist Party propaganda, which further detracts from their military expertise. None of this is to argue that the weaknesses and deficiencies of both China and Russia are identical, but the fact remains that much more so than Russia, China has no practical combat experience worth talking about. Their last serious use of force overseas was in 1979 when it sought to teach Vietnam a lesson and failed miserably. The fact is that China shares many of the fatal weaknesses of Russia's military, which is performing so abysmally in Moscow's war in Ukraine. Taiwan's military has been doing its best to play catch up under President Tsai. Since taking office in 2016, she has worked to reform the military by raising its budget each year, supporting domestic defense projects, reforming Taiwan's reserve system with an all-out defense mobilization agency, and extending conscription for young men between the ages of 18 and 36 from 4 months to 1 year. Taiwan has weapon systems such as the US-made Patriot air defense system, as well as its homegrown Tiankun or Skybow surface-to-air anti-ballistic missiles and Hyungwang anti-ship missile systems. Under Tsai, Taiwan has aggressively tried to build up its military capacity, buying primarily from the United States, although the island has indirectly acquired technologies from overseas projects like its domestic submarine program, which received varying levels of assistance from the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, South Korea, India, and Spain. In 2023 alone, Taiwan has ordered 1.55 billion in weapons and services from the United States, including infrared tracking systems for F-16 jets, munition, spare parts for aircraft, and technical support. Other purchases during Tsai tenure have included drones, anti-tank munition systems, Paladin medium self-propelled Howitzer artillery systems, AIM-96 Sidewinder air-to-air missiles, Stinger surface-to-air missiles, Mk-48 Mod 6 advanced technology heavyweight torpedoes, AGM-154C Jason air-to-ground systems, air-to-ground missiles, as well as field communication equipment and training packages. This is according to purchase orders approved by the United States State Department. Likewise, Taiwan has adjusted its defense plan to factor in immediate urban warfare. Right now, about 79% of Taiwan's main island is considered built up and ready. But probably the biggest military advantage of Taiwan stands in the form of a determined population willing to defend themselves and their island home. Let's now look at the map. Here you can see the Taiwan Strait, standing between China and Taiwan. At the narrowest point, it spans for over 130 kilometers, and if we were to add the tumultuous waters in the strait into account, that only gives China 2 short windows of time per year when an invasion would be possible. That journey seems like a gate to hell. After you get there, however, things don't become much more simple. There are only a few beaches where a landing would be suitable. But even after you land, the island is full of mountains, which would make the situation for the Chinese even worse than it already is. If you like this video, please subscribe and give a like. Thank you. The biggest ally of the island is without a shadow of a doubt the United States, the strongest nation in the world. And even if the United States of America has not made it known that they would 100% join the war on Taiwan's side, there is little doubt about the enormous support it would give in the case of a Chinese invasion. For the USA and the developed countries more generally, Taiwan is very important, not only because of the strategic placement of the island on the map, making a containment strategy impossible without them, but also for economic reasons, as TSMC is by far the biggest producer of chips in the world and they cannot be replaced by any other company. It produces 90% of cutting edge chips and 60% of the overall chips worldwide. Thus, Taiwan is incredibly important for the United States, and any invasion would come with huge support and maybe even direct involvement in the war. In conclusion, there are many reasons why Taiwan will never get conquered by China, but I want to hear your opinion. Please leave a comment down below, like the video, and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day.